What I'm trying to do with this segment is to give people ideas on how to use AI in their businesses if they hadn't thought of some of these things.
Think about all of the things you can do every hour with an AI first mentality. It's going to change your productivity.
It's the third person in a one-on-one meeting. It's constantly moving and evolving from market research to analyzing an idea.
If you're a graphic artist today, I'd be very concerned that I need to learn AI tools to be a graphic artist. I'm not going to get paid to draw pretty pictures anymore.
A graphic artist of the future is going to be somebody who's really knows what the options are and then knows which option to use when it's time to do a particular job.
This is Real AI Use Cases Business Owners Roundtable with hosts Elizabeth Gearhart, podcast consultant, marketing expert, and PhD researcher using AI every day, and Richard Gearhart, entrepreneur, seasoned business owner, and intellectual property attorney specializing in innovation. Here's how real companies are using AI right now.
Welcome, everybody, to Real AI Use Cases Business Owners Roundtable. Kevin Surace, your life is AI, but is there one way that in particular that you're using AI that in your business that you really like?
I'm using it 5 times an hour, right? But certainly press responses where I opine on the question the press has, and then I let AI take my opinion, not its opinion, my opinion, and rewrite the sentences that are appropriate for quotation. I am using it a lot with Excel, because some of the formulas are so complicated. Just write the formula for me. I actually literally can't figure it out, or I'd spend an hour figuring it out. And why do I do that? I'm not adding any value. So think about all of the things you can do every hour with an AI first mentality, with just what's given to you in a handful of models or a handful of tools. And it's going to change your productivity, and get it to help you do the things where you wouldn't add additional value to it anyway. The value was in your opinion, your experience. Here's my experience. Here's my opinion. Write the following report. Boom. It's your stuff. It's just, again, I'm not an English major, so don't feel bad that you're letting it be the English major. I'm not an English major. Please write this thing in. My wife says I barely speak English, right? So let that machine do it.
Is this
right?
your clone by any chance? Are you?
Yeah, I have a clone, actually. I had a Zoom clone for a while. It was very cool. And then it was hard for people to tell whether it was me or just the clones. Do everything. Do literally everything, right? I could take a picture of a meal in a restaurant and say, give me a recipe for this meal. This is what it says some of the ingredients are. Boom, there's the recipe from a picture. The things that you can do today that people don't understand. Analyze, and Gemini, you can analyze a video. So I can take a video of a factory floor, give me an analysis of this video. You can only do it in Gemini. And it'll say, here's what's happening. And I say, how do I improve the flow? Here's how I would improve the flow. And these other people have done it. You go, oh my God, it's just a video that it was able to analyze. These are the things you should be doing 5 times an hour. AI first, and you're a winner.
Okay. We're going to come back and do a roundtable discussion after I get everybody's opinion. So what I'm trying to do with this segment is to give people ideas on how to use AI in their businesses if they hadn't thought of some of these things. And I find that the people on Passage to Profit in particular are very bright and have excellent ideas. So that's why I really wanted to do it during this show. So that said, Tyler Dunagin, no pressure. What's one way that you're using AI that's really helping your business?
I use it multiple times a day. Wake up using it, go to sleep using it, and I have it running in the background when I'm asleep. So I really mean it. And I think the biggest things for us, quality of life, accuracy, and speed. And it was mentioned earlier, some people might frown upon that feeling of letting this AI do certain components of their job, and they don't want to feel inferior. Let it do it. Use that as a quality of life thing so it speeds up not only for yourself, but the team around you. We build websites with it. We ideate all the time. We look at reports. We crunch numbers with it. We get opinions from it. It's the third person in a one-on-one meeting. It's constantly moving and evolving from market research to analyzing an idea, you name it. It's a really non-biased analytical tool that can be super creative, super analytical. It could be your best friend, your biggest critic, anything and everything. And for me, last thing I'll say is, as a creative, I constantly want to do a million different things. So I'm operating on one side and creating on the other, helping find the balance between the two and knowing what's in my wheelhouse and what's not. That's where AI keeps me on the rails. So there's no limitation. Excel, all these things, that's perfect. But beyond that, just coming up with ideas and creating websites and more, it's for everything.
Thank you. So Jen Millard, one way or more, but somehow that it's really helping you with your business.
Yeah, we use it, I think, similar to Kevin and to Tyler. We make water in cans made by brewers. Brewers actually calculate things in ounces, barrels, barrel counts, etc. On the retail side, I sell in ounces and cans. So to do that batch yield through all the math, to Kevin's point earlier, the formula is quite excessive. So rather than do the exercise of forcing yourself as a human to correct the formula, which will probably be wrong until you try 2 more times, we use it a lot for formula creation for Excel. Everybody has a dependency on Excel, I would agree with. We also use it for general research, similar to what Tyler said. I also use it a lot for investment materials. Investor with a specific focus or thesis in their fund category. I have a basic set of materials. I built my own LLM. Now I want to adjust it to maybe be more forward on my sustainability thesis because this investor is more interested in sustainability. Or the investor that I have at 4 is actually more in love with economic development in Maine. So, how do I reorganize my materials to address the audience in the best storytelling? And that has proven to probably be my biggest time saver with 40 slides that are your basic set. You upload them and then you let the machine, so to speak, comment and say, I think these 10 slides are the most relevant and I would change this.
That's brilliant. Yes, everybody's has been. And so, Richard Gearhart.
It's a tough crowd to keep up with, that's for sure. And I guess I'll have two examples, a business example, but also a personal example, because I think that you can use ChatGPT in your normal everyday life. So the first example is I wanted to analyze the timesheet. So if you're working at a law firm, we have a software that records all the time that the attorneys work on a particular project. And I looked at our timesheets for 2025. We had 42,000 time entries that were created by our team. And I put those into Copilot. Not my favorite AI tool, but it has confidentiality protections in it. So it was appropriate for this kind of analysis. And it just really came back with a wealth of information that would have been impossible for me to do it. And so I can see what kinds of projects are profitable, where we're getting most of our revenue from, how our team members are doing. And I just kept asking it questions. And then it prepared management reports based on the information that I thought it was most important for our team to see. And you wouldn't have really had this kind of flexibility and this level of analysis before using just the software that comes with the firm management software where the timesheets are recorded. So it's really been a boon, and it's offered some actionable insights that I think are going to help us do a better job. For that, I'm very grateful. And then the second use, and we have a lot of Christmas decorations. We have bins and bins of Christmas decorations. And in the past, we actually rented a storage unit to contain those. So I took pictures of all the bins that were housing our Christmas decorations. And I said, can we fit this in closets around the house? Because I didn't want to pay for the storage unit. I took pictures, I calculated the volume of Christmas decorations based on the number and size of the bins. And then it helped me find spots in the house. I took pictures of the closets and I said, can this fit in there? It worked out a plan for me and everything else. I would encourage people to not just think of it as a business tool, but as something that can be helpful on a lot of different levels.
Excellent. Thank you. So, I gave a presentation at PodFest, and the name of the presentation was 5 Tips to Influence What ChatGPT Says About You and Your Podcast. So, when I did that presentation, I went to Google Gemini, I went to ChatGPT, and I went to Perplexity, Claude, and asked them all for the 5 tips, and then went through and there was a lot more information than that. So, I went through and pulled out everything that was relevant. One thing I will say that I thought was pretty funny was I asked each of them which LLM is the most accurate? And they all gave me a different answer. And what do you think they gave me? Themselves. So Google Gemini says, oh, Gemini. Claude says Claude.
But you bring up a good point, though, and that is, and you say this all the time, but I'm just reiterating it, and that is you have to sometimes check with different GPTs because you will get different results between them.
You will. So then, okay, so I put all that together. I designed the slides myself in Canva, and Canva has designs and stuff, and I thought it looked pretty good. So now I'm giving another presentation in a couple weeks, and it's going to be on how having a podcast benefits a business owner. And I had heard at Podfest about this new AI called Manus.im. Has everybody heard about that or anybody? Anyway, so I just told Manus, okay, here's my presentation. Do a presentation for me. Oh my gosh. So Manus is the latest and greatest. It did this beautiful slide deck. It was gorgeous. Now, was it perfect? No. It had mistakes. And then I wasn't even thinking this way. And good thing I have Richard around. Richard said, can't you export it to PowerPoint and fix everything in PowerPoint? I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Like it used a graph from 2023. So I found a graph that goes through 2027. So I was able to put it in PowerPoint and take out the old graph, put in the new one. And then also I have to add some slides and rearrange things a little bit. And it did it really high level corporate. And I was like, this is small business owners. And then can you make it a little more appropriate for that audience? And then made it look like the Flintstones. No, come on. So I was really disappointed that it thought that it should really make it like a cartoon almost. So I have to work with it. But I'm telling you, the design of the slides and a lot of the data was really accurate because I've been researching this for a long time. So I would say it probably got me 70 to 80% there for this presentation. Of course, I'm going to put in actual data from having used it for Gearhart Law's marketing for the last couple of years. I always try to push them to the limit. And I think people should do that. The one thing I found with Manus, though, was once it has an image in its mind, you can't change it.
It was actually. And honestly, I use a different one. Let me tell you the name of it. It's called Plus AI for slides. And it also does a tremendous job, but you do have to take some human likeness to it. Like the graph was wrong. Good example. I want to update numbers. But I think to Kevin's earlier comment, if you're a graphic artist today, I'd be very concerned that I need to learn AI tools to be a graphic artist because I'm not going to get paid to draw pretty pictures anymore. And we already see that happening, even in our agency work.
So maybe part of the skill is just staying on top of the new products that are available. So a graphic artist of the future is going to be somebody who's really knows what the options are and then knows which option to use when it's time to do a particular job.
And we have seen this, right? If you were a graphic artist 25 years ago, you didn't do anything on a computer. You had a pencil or crayon or whatever, right? And then we started to have something called Illustrator. And when that came out, Adobe at the time, it was the first time an illustrator could literally illustrate in a computer. And then those tools got better and better. You didn't have to draw a straight line anymore. It would draw it for you and it would change the line. And so Illustrator got better. You could use Illustrator with Photoshop and create photorealistic output. There's no photographer today alive that doesn't use Photoshop. And now Photoshop is full of AI tools. So I take a photo of you. I don't like some of that background. It used to be that I had to go in and carefully erase. Now I say, get rid of the background. Boom, done. AI does that for you. So I am a Photoshop person and I took years to learn how to do certain things. Now I can just tell it to do it and it'll do it for me, which you just have to be okay with. You can do it the old way, but nobody's going to pay you for it.
Except I will say one thing about illustrators, designers. Some people just have a flair for what looks good, and that is not me. Okay.
That's why you hire them, but you might not pay them $3,000 for that illustration in a week. You might pay them $300 in 2 hours. So the time is compressing and the speed of which you get things and the cost is going to be less, but they still have expertise. I agree. I should not pick curtains. I should not be an interior designer. My wife, she's great.
Yeah, notice
like
you don't have any
this
curtains in your background there. So
that's a digital background today, but it's in it. She says, do you like this one or this one? I said, oh, you don't want to ask me. You know that that's the wrong thing. So we still want the expertise of people, but it's not going to be weeks of painstaking work. It's going to take them using AI tools an hour to come up with 5 amazing things that through their eyes, with their experience, they can bring to us. And we're going to choose it and be done with it. Theoretically, they could make more money than they've ever made as long as they have more clients and more work, right? Because they could put out more. They won't be limited by their time. They're going to be able to work a lot faster. But that's the future of that business, I think.
Kevin,
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you a question if you don't mind. Speaking of that, I'm convinced if you can prompt, you can design today. And we use a tool called Mid-Journey. And if you guys haven't used it yet, highly recommend you try it out. I was going to ask you, Kevin, stock images, videos, branded images, videos. What is your go-to source for AI for something like that? And how would you rank Mid-Journey?
Yeah.
on that stack?
Look, I think the best source actually at the lowest cost is called Envato. I don't know if you know about Envato Elements. So Envato Elements has all of these stock things that have been literally photographed, et cetera, but also has all the AI tools built in. They're not using Midjourney, but several of the other models, including video and images. So I can say I want this stock thing, or I can't find exactly what I want. So produce me something based on my prompt, right? So in one tool for something like $20 a month, you get unlimited anything you want, a combination of stock, images, drawings, audio, sound, everything, video, right? I need 60 seconds of video that does this. It turns out they probably have it. But if they don't, I can go make 8-second snippets over here and string them together. Yeah, Envato Elements is just the killer. I think everyone uses Envato Elements who's doing a lot of this kind of thing because you do get that breadth. Lastly, I will give you a little hint though. Gemini has gotten very good because it'll pull in Nano Banana.
Yeah.
So you can take an old image, an old photograph, and say, improve the resolution, fix it, get rid of all the, and I'm taking 50-year-old photographs, and within a minute, it's stunningly gorgeous. Literally using AI in a diffusion model, and it's amazing. Then you can take that amazing shot and go over to the Google workflow that includes Veo 3 and say, give me an 8-second video starting with this image, this now improved image that's in color and it's good. And now you have 8 seconds and they can even talk to each other. I want the people to say the following and I want them to walk down the street. I'm working on a film and for that we're going to shoot in Warsaw. And I said, rather than me chalk this out or here's what I think the scene will look like, just here's what I want the scene to look like. And it gives me the scene so that we can look at how these scenes might look like before we go. We're actually going to film that, but before we go do it.
What's the name of that software again?
Sure, that's all from Google. So Gemini, to take this old photo to brand new, you can just drop the photo in, it'll bring up Nano Banana and it'll generate this beautiful, then download that photo, then go over to Flow, which is, it brings in Veo 3, right, which is their model. And then you can take that photo and say, start with this frame and make me 8 seconds of video that does the following during those 8 seconds, including talk to you. It's actually incredible. And then you can extend it. You can make it longer. You can use that last frame as a starting frame for the next 8 seconds. So right now they're limited to generally 8-second, 10-second, 12-second runs, but that's going to get longer and it'll be 30 seconds in a minute. And eventually it'll be a few minutes that will allow you to do a scene like a movie would be, a few minute scene, right? Where you haven't changed it. By the way, you could change camera angles. I can describe, zoom in, change the lighting. The sun goes over here. Boom, there it is.
Kevin, how long does that take? What I think is if you're going to use these tools and really learn them, then you do have to devote time, right?
Yeah. How long does it take to get good at it? A while. It's like anything else because you want to learn how to prompt it to get what you want, number one. Number two, you might generate 20 of those 8-second clips until you find the one that does exactly what you want. And the model can get disturbed in a way, which means it starts going down some road and you go, no, I don't want the hair on fire. And the next one, the hair is even worse on fire.
Yeah.
No, stop the fire. And what you have to do is start over. It's got itself in some loop and it's generating something. You go, that is not what I meant to have, literally. And you can't seem to undo it. So you start anew. These tools are amazing. Some of them are not inexpensive. A Flow subscription is a couple $100 a month if you're going to do a lot of these. If you can do 5 of them in a month, it's $20 a month. But if you're going to do more than 5, 50, 100, 200, 500, you get all these credits and you're going to spend some money. But again, we're democratizing access to tell your story, the ability of anyone on here to tell their story, even for $200. It's unbelievable.
Thanks. That has been Real AI Use Cases Business Owners Roundtable.
You have been listening to Real AI Use Cases Business Owners Roundtable. We hope you found this valuable. Join us again for more stories, because the future of business is driven by AI. This podcast was recorded at the iHeart Studios in Manhattan as part of the Passage to Profit radio show.